Basketball fans, welcome back. So the Indiana Pacers lost Game 5 to the Oklahoma City Thunder, 120-109, and they went down 2-3, and the Oklahoma City Thunder potentially can close out the series in 6 games. So in this video, I'll be talking about what Rick Carlisle said, especially when he addressed Tyrese Haliburton's injury situation. So Tyrese Haliburton suffered an apparent calf injury early in the game in the first quarter, but Rick Carlisle appears convinced that this won't impact his availability for the next game. So this is a very fluid situation, and we're not sure if he's going to be able to be cleared to play in Game 6. So the Indiana Pacers, they came up short in this one. As bad as the situation is when losing that game, I mean, there are great concerns, especially Tyrese Haliburton potentially suffering an injury that can affect the overall series in general, because the Pacers offense is centered upon Tyrese Haliburton being at 100%. So Rick Carlisle, he had some things to say, especially in that post-game presser. So I'm going to play that clip, then we're going to come back.
He's not 100%. It's pretty clear. But I don't think he's going to miss the next game. And, you know, we were concerned at halftime, and he insisted on playing. And I thought he made a lot of really good things happen in the second half. But he's not 100%, you know, and there's a lot of guys in this series that aren't. So,
I mean, it's NBA Finals. It's the finals, man. I've worked my whole life to be here, and I want to be out there to compete. You know, help my teammates any way I can. You know, I was not great tonight by any means, but you know, it's not really a thought of mine to not play here. You know, if I can, you know, walk, then I want to play. So, you know, they understand that, and you know, is what it is, and you know, got to be ready to go for Game 6.
How concerned are you getting into Game 6 again?
It's Game 6 in the NBA final. I'm not concerned.
Everybody can see that Tyrese is playing through something with the leg. What's it say that he was able to be out there and try to cut out 34 minutes?
Yeah, no, he's a fighter. I mean, I think he's been our rock, you know, all year, and you know, he's a big reason why we're here. And you know, we know he's, you know, again, I don't know exactly what's wrong, but I know he's fighting, and he's going to give us everything he got. And we are 100% behind him, and we support him, and I think, you know, one thing he showed, like, is resiliency. Like, he showed that all year, and I think that, you know, we can continue to count on him to keep fighting, and I admire that, you know, from him, and just because I know that, you know, it's hard, but. So yeah, we just gotta, you know, we got a couple of days, you know, take care of our bodies, you know, rest well, and be ready for Game 6.
So Rick Carlisle's comments will allow the Pacers fans to breathe a sigh of relief, a mild respite given the current situation they are in, especially in the brink of elimination. It's a win or go home situation for the Indiana Pacers. So Tyrese Haliburton is the engine for the Indiana Pacers, taking up the role of the primary facilitator. The team's offense is heavily reliant upon Tyrese Haliburton's productivity and his presence on the court. So the Pacers guard supposedly sustained an injury while being guarded by the Thunder big man Chet Holmgren on the perimeter. So in an attempt to blow past Holmgren, Tyrese Haliburton is said to have strained his calf, leading to his eventual exit from the game. So this was very scary, because when I went back and watched the whole game in its entirety, I couldn't help but notice this might be those injuries that just linger, and who knows, maybe it can even spark another injury. We don't know if it's going to affect his Achilles. We don't even know if it's going to affect, like, you know, his, you know, calf. We don't know. But hey, I mean, I'm optimistic. Hopefully he doesn't get injured. So although Rick Carlisle commends the youngster, especially for his contributions in the second half, despite being injured, the overall contributions made by him are quite disappointing, because Tyrese Haliburton, when he went out in the first quarter and he came back in the game, he was not the same. Didn't have even the burst of energy that we're used to. And it follows somebody who's slightly injured. So, and you don't even know the full extent and how it might affect his productivity moving forward. So Tyrese Haliburton notched one of the most poorest performances in the postseason, especially considering what was at stake. I mean, going down 2-3. And in the brink of elimination. That's what's at stake. So with 4 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists in this game, Tyrese Haliburton struggled, especially going 0 for 6 from the field and 0 for 4 from the 3-point line. So that leg injury, that calf injury really affected his game. He's not able to have those quick bursts to go in for layups, and his shot was compromised, especially when his leg is not okay. So Tyrese Haliburton's injury certainly played a role in affecting his performance in the game, but the same cannot be said for the rest of the rotation. Pascal Siakam, who had 28 points in the night, the rest of the Indiana Pacers was quite underwhelming. And you could see the engine of the Pacers was Tyrese, and with his absence not being there as that primary facilitator, the whole team chemistry was just botched. Aaron Nesmith came out with 14 points and 6 boards. Andrew Nembhard dropped 7 points, 3 boards, and 3 assists. Even the Pacers' defensive anchor, Miles Turner, was borderline ordinary, 13 points and 6 boards, just looking out like a role player in this one. So the team's highest scorer behind Siakam was Pacers veteran TJ McConnell, who stepped up to the occasion and helped the team cut the deficit in the third quarter. He had 18 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals on the night. So this one is a tough game, and you would expect a team to be able to even click on all cylinders, even when their star player is not there. They held it together, and it was not a blowout because it would have gone sideways very fast. And the other team, even despite the loss, they're able to hold it together, and TJ McConnell's performance was exemplary. Him being able to go double digits and be second in scoring after Pascal Siakam, that is commendable. But the whole injury situation with Tyrese Haliburton still remains the biggest question marks, and still remains the biggest what ifs. Because if, let's say, for example, he's not able to go ahead and suit and play for Game 6 and he's ruled out after Game 6, that will mean that series is over, and we'll not be able to see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander getting one up on Tyrese in that game. So, and also the Pacers need, Tyrese to be able to play in home court, in the home floor, because it would be a very bad look if he's not be able to play. Luckily enough, there are about 2 rest days between games, so we'll see Tyrese try to heal up a bit. I know he's not going to be at 100% completely, but the minutes that he's going to have, I know he's going to try to do something. So this is a very, very sad situation, and the Pacers looked unlike themselves on Monday night, I can say Tuesday morning, when I watched this game, and this is not a good sign at this juncture. So with the series headed back to Indiana, and the team will find themselves in an elimination situation, as Charles Barkley was able to predict after Game 4. Although the pressure is intense, the Pacers can be able to do something, and they have a fighting chance, that is barring any setbacks if Tyrese is able to play. So it is what it is. So like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified, because I'm going to be releasing a ton of content of this nature. And I'm out. I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
Pacers' Tyrese Haliburton has been dealing with a lingering right lower leg injury that impacted his performance last night in Game 5 of the NBA Finals against OKC. Let's break this down. Notice where he's grabbing at here. Haliburton is palpating just above the Achilles, around the distal gastrocnemius soleus aponeurosis, or musculotendinous junction, where muscle fibers transition into tendon fibers. This is the interface where contractile muscle tissue connects to non-contractile tendon, allowing the force generated by the muscle to be transmitted to the bone. The area he's grabbing at is near one of the most common sites for a strain or fascial irritation. The ankle, Achilles tendon, and calf form a functional kinetic chain. The calf muscles are comprised of the lateral and medial gastrocnemius and the soleus. These insert into the Achilles tendon, which attach to the heel, or the calcaneus bone, enabling plantar flexion, which allows for push-off. An injury to any one of these components often causes load redistribution, which likely played a role in Hallie's injury. Hallie had a noticeable limp after Game 2 about 9 days ago, and pregame had this KT tape over this region. Then last night in the first quarter, he suffered likely a compensatory injury on this play while attempting to explode forward to his left. Watch that right foot closely on this step. As the toe comes down, the ankle joint is slightly everted to the outside, and his body is moving to the left. As he loads that gastrocnemius soleus complex and rapidly contracts it to push off, the muscle tendon unit is undergoing a high velocity contraction with a significant load. We do see a mild pop near the calf muscle and tendon junction, followed by a complete push-off, and he would lose his footing on the next step and would be grabbing that region immediately afterward. When Hali returned from the locker room, he had that leg wrapped up, most likely with some form of heat, which is commonly used to keep the muscle warm, pliable, and can maintain elasticity, especially if return to play is possible. This was called calf tightness during halftime, but it's important to note that's not a formal diagnosis, but rather a symptom. This can represent anything from muscle fatigue to a low-grade strain or even early tendinopathy, and he's likely to keep playing through it. The data does predict a drop in vertical jump height, sprint speed, as well as push-off torque and stride length. There's a 15 to 30% re-injury risk, which are commonly much worse than the original injury when they occur, and there's always a mild increase in Achilles tear risk. It's been a great series so far, and hopefully he's able to stay healthy throughout it. Wishing Hali a safe and speedy recovery.
Something happened today in Game 5 that could have huge ramifications moving forward. Tyrese Haliburton was injured on this play right here. He seemed to aggravate a previous calf injury from Game 2. The big question is this just calf tightness, or is this really a strain?
Malika, sources tell me Pacers star Tyrese Haliburton is dealing with right calf tightness, and so he went out to the locker room during the first half and then returned to the game. But remember, this is the same right leg that he limped off with after Game 2 with what was described to me as ankle soreness last week. But it's the same leg, now it's right calf tightness. But listen, it's the NBA Finals. Yeah. He's going to want to play through anything, and he's going to continue to try to play through it in the second half. And
Haliburton has looked awful, and I'm glad he's injured. I'm not saying I'm glad he's injured, but I'm glad we got that as the rationale.
Yeah, I think they're in trouble because when you have a team on the ropes, you got to finish them off. If you go up 3-1, you're in great shape. But now you go back. You know Oklahoma City, number one, got a better team. They got a better team. Now they're back to their original starting lineup, which will be better next game. Then they realize, like, man,
missed a lot of shots.
We got to play. We got to play our bench more. We're back to the thing that got us to the NBA Finals. We're gonna go back big. We can dominate them on the boards like we did, and they're going back to Oklahoma City. I think this series is a wrap. I thought tonight was a big deal for both teams.
If Haliburton can't be healthy, they don't have a chance to win a Game 7 at OKC. Never, I expect them to get extinguished in the next game. I expected last night's game to go about the way that it did, which was OKC leading wire to wire, but I expected that series to also be easier, and my confidence in my analysis was shaken by the fact that the first 4 games of that series were played exactly the way Indiana wants to play them.